Beloved chosen one, listen closely. Heaven itself has paused everything around you to deliver this message. This is not coincidence, it is divine intervention. The air around you shifts as heaven leans close to whisper, "Your time has come." You've stood between prophecy and fulfillment, praying and wondering if heaven still remembers your name. But this moment is proof it does. God has seen every tear, measured every sleepless night, every breath whispered in faith. What seemed like divine delay was divine design. The silence was not absence. It was incubation. Heaven hides its treasures until the moment of revealing. Beloved, hear this clearly. What is coming will not resemble what has been. The same God who spoke galaxies into order is about to reorder your life. There will be a holy interruption, a breaking of patterns, a reversal of timelines. The old rhythm will end, and divine order will take its place. Heaven speaks clearly through the words recorded in Revelation chapter 21. Verse 5, He who was seated on the throne said, "Behold, I am making all things new." Do you feel that the words do not echo from the past? They are alive now. All things new, not repaired, not adjusted new. New strength, new doors, new clarity. God is not improving your circumstances, He is shifting your entire reality. You stand where endings and beginnings touch. Everything that no longer serves your divine assignment is being shaken off. The heaviness, the confusion, the cycles of delay, they are losing their grip. The pressure was not punishment, it was preparation. God was expanding your capacity to carry glory. There is a sound in the spirit, a divine trumpet declaring that your season of waiting is closing. The heavens move in your favor, arranging alignments you could never create. Doors form where walls used to be. What once resisted you will now release you. Chosen one, this is your divine interruption. Every time God interrupts, it is to upgrade. When He disrupted Moses' quiet life, destiny ignited. When He interrupted Saul, purpose was born. When He interrupted the tomb, resurrection entered the earth, and now heaven interrupts you. You may feel unqualified or unprepared, but heaven's choosing is not about perfection. It's about purpose. Rejection didn't break you, it refined you. Silence didn't destroy you, it strengthened you. Every closed door was a divine detour toward destiny. When God says, "Behold, I make all things new," He means everything. The relationships that fade, the plans that fall apart, all are divine rearrangements. He's not punishing you. He's positioning you. He's removing what cannot carry the weight of your next season. Pause and breathe. You can sense the stillness before breakthrough, the silence before the trumpet. This word is a sacred interruption to remind you you are seen, chosen, and the transformation has begun. Soon, the pain that broke you will produce praise. You'll say, "This is when heaven interrupted my life." If this message resonates, act in faith, like, share, and subscribe so this word can awaken another chosen one. And if you feel heaven stirring within you, declare it in the comments by typing 7777, your prophetic agreement that you are ready for the divine interruption. Heaven is moving even now, weaving purpose through every thread of your story. What once felt like chaos will soon reveal divine design, beauty from ashes, strength from surrender. Stand still, chosen one, and watch. The atmosphere around you is shifting with favor. This is the moment your spirit rises to meet destiny's call, all things new. Chosen one, when God begins to move, the first sign is often a shaking. You start to feel everything around you become uncertain. The ground that once felt solid begins to tremble. Relationships shift, opportunities fade, and comfort turns to confusion. But listen carefully, this shaking is not your destruction, it is your purification. Heaven is separating the temporary from the eternal, the false from the true. There are moments when you pray for breakthrough, and instead, the familiar begins to fall apart. Do not mistake this for abandonment. The shaking means heaven has heard you. Before God can build something lasting, He must first shake what was built on sand. You asked for growth, and growth requires disruption. You asked for clarity, and clarity demands that illusions be removed. The prophet reminds us in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 26. Yet once more I will shake not only the earth, but also the heavens. That shaking is happening in your life right now, not to punish you, but to position you. Everything that is not rooted in divine truth must be unsettled so that what remains cannot be moved. You are being refined by divine instability, taught to stand when everything else falls away. This is why so much around you feels uncertain. God is tearing down the scaffolding of dependence, stripping away the layers that once disguised fear as stability. What you used to rely on is being removed, not because it failed, but because it was never your foundation. Heaven is teaching you to stand on one thing alone, faith. When everything shifts, you will learn who you truly are. The shaking reveals what cannot be shaken within you: endurance, purpose, unyielding trust. It is in the tremor that your true strength awakens. God is preparing you to carry something greater, and that requires a heart anchored in eternity, not comfort. Every storm that has entered your life has carried a lesson. Every disruption is divine education. You are learning how to walk through earthquakes and remain standing. You are learning how to worship even while walls fall down. This is not the end, it is the breaking of old ground so that new seeds can take root. In this season, the safest place is not stability, it is surrender. The more you resist the shaking, the more it hurts. But the moment you trust the process, peace returns. God is not removing you, He is rerouting you. What is planted deep will survive every tremor. Chosen one, when everything moves beneath your feet, remember this. What is built by God will never crumble. Though people may leave and plans may fail, the hand of heaven still holds you steady. This shaking is the sound of foundations being reset. Soon, when the shaking ends, you will see what truly remains: faith, fire, and freedom. When the trembling ceases, you will see that nothing essential was lost. What was removed was never meant to endure. The shaking was heaven's mercy, freeing you from everything that could not sustain your calling. Out of the rubble will rise a stronger, purer version of you, and when the dust settles, peace will stand like a pillar within your heart. You will thank God for every quake that forced you to grow. What once felt like chaos will be revealed as construction, the holy rebuilding of your life upon the unshakable rock of faith. Chosen one, there is a sacred heaviness that comes with divine calling. You have walked through seasons others could not endure. You have carried responsibilities, emotions, and spiritual battles that few could even perceive. You've smiled when your heart was breaking, kept giving when your soul was weary, and prayed for others while you quietly bled inside. This is the weight of being chosen. It refines you before it reveals you. The nights you spent questioning your worth were not wasted. Heaven saw every tear, every sigh that escaped when words failed you. God was not absent during your struggle. He was training your spirit to carry greater glory. You were being prepared in secret for a public release of power. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 56, verse 8. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. Every pain you endured has purpose. Every betrayal, every loss, every disappointment carved wisdom into your soul. The weight you've carried is not a curse, it's the proof of your anointing. Those who are trusted with great influence must first be trusted with great pain. Your suffering was never random, it was strategic. Heaven was building endurance in you, even when you wanted to quit. Grace held you together, The same grace that carried you through will soon lift you higher. What once broke you will now build you. You are stepping into a season where what drained you will empower you. The very experiences that wounded you will become the oil of healing for others. Chosen one, you must understand pain is the price of authority. The reason your warfare has been so fierce is because your mantle is so heavy. Darkness attacked what it feared most, your purpose. But every battle only proved your resilience. You did not break. You endured. And endurance births divine promotion. Right now, heaven whispers, it is time to release the weight. You have carried it long enough. The anxiety, the guilt, the need to fix everything, it is time to let go. The hands of God are stronger than yours. He is not asking you to carry the burden. He is asking you to trust His strength. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. The heaviness you feel is not a sign of failure, it's a sign of transition. You are being lifted from survival into strength, from striving into surrender. What once felt like breaking will soon feel like birthing. So pause and breathe. Chosen one, the season of carrying is ending. The time of release has come. Heaven has seen your faithfulness under pressure, and now reward is being released. Type I release it. This simple act is not for the algorithm, it is a prophetic declaration. When you write those words, you are symbolically laying down every burden that was never meant to define you. You are telling heaven, I trust you to carry what I cannot. And in that surrender, peace will finally find you. When you type, I release it. You are not just writing words, you are unlocking freedom. You are surrendering the weight of yesterday, making space for divine peace to flood every corner of your soul where exhaustion once lived. Each letter you write is a silent prayer, a bold act of trust. As you declare, I release it. Heaven records your obedience, and the chains that held you begin to break. This is how deliverance begins, through surrender. Chosen one, every soul destined for greatness must pass through the fire. The path of divine purpose is not paved with ease, but with refinement. You have felt the heat of trials, the sting of loss, the crushing weight of pressure that made you question your strength. Yet what you perceived as punishment was preparation. The fire was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you. Gold cannot be purified in comfort. It must endure the furnace, where everything impure melts away. Likewise, the seasons that burned you were orchestrated to remove what could not carry the light within you. The pain that once threatened to consume you was shaping your purity, solidifying your purpose. You have been through the kind of heat that changes form and character. And what emerges from such fire is not fragile, it is flawless. It is written in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 3. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the Levites and refine them like gold and silver. Notice that the scripture says he sits. The refiner does not walk away from the fire, he stays near. He watches carefully, ensuring that the flame burns just enough to cleanse but never enough to destroy. The moment he sees his reflection in the silver, he knows the process is complete. That is what God is doing with you. He has been watching closely, measuring the intensity of every trial, never once letting the flames consume you. You wondered why the heat was unrelenting. You cried out, asking when it would end. But the refiner's silence was not neglect, it was precision. He knew the exact temperature required to release the gold within you. You prayed for growth, And he answered by sending fire, because only fire can bring forth authenticity. The refining fire exposes hidden things. It reveals what cannot endure the next level of your calling: fear, pride, self-reliance, doubt. These cannot go where you are heading. So, one by one, they are melted away, replaced with trust, humility, and unwavering faith. Every flame you faced was forming resilience within you. Look back on your journey. You survived what others could not. There were moments you thought you would not make it, yet here you are, wiser, stronger, glowing with quiet power. This is the evidence that the fire worked. You no longer react to pain as before. You no longer chase validation from those who never saw your value. You have learned that true worth is proven in the furnace of adversity. The refining fire also redefines your relationship with God. It turns belief into intimacy. When the world burns around you, you discover that His presence is the only shelter that never fails. You learn to trust the hand you cannot see. You begin to recognize that holiness is not the absence of hardship, but the endurance of faith within it. Chosen one. The heat you feel now is not a sign that God has left, it is proof that He is near. The flame is His tool, not your enemy. Soon, the fire will subside, and you will see what He was creating all along, a version of you that carries both purity and power. When you emerge, you will not smell like smoke. You will shine with the quiet brilliance of one who has been touched by heaven and lived to tell the story. This is what the fire was always about: transformation, not torment. Chosen one, there comes a moment when heaven begins to draw a line in your life, not to divide you from love, but to deliver you into purpose. That is the season you are entering now, the season of divine separation. You may not understand it yet, but what feels like loss is actually liberation. The hand of God is gently removing what cannot accompany you into your next dimension. For a long time, you've been holding on to things and people that once carried meaning but now carry weight. There was comfort in familiarity, even when it hindered your growth. But God's mercy sometimes appears as distance. His protection can look like rejection. What He removes is not punishment, it's pruning. And pruning is proof of potential. The Apostle Paul wrote in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 17, "Therefore, come out from among them and be separate, says the Lord, and I will receive you." Heaven is calling you higher, and elevation always requires isolation. When God separates you, He is not taking something away. He is making room for what's divine to arrive. The silence after someone leaves is not emptiness. It's sacred space being cleared for destiny to breathe. This is why certain connections have faded without explanation. Certain opportunities slipped through your fingers even though you prayed for them. The truth is, they were never meant to walk with you into what's next. The path narrows when you approach glory because not everyone can carry the same weight of calling. Do not cling to what heaven is gently removing. Release your grip. The same God who takes away what no longer serves you will fill your hands with something better. Every ending is a disguised beginning. Every closed door whispers, "There's more." Chosen one, you are not being left behind, you are being led ahead. There are relationships, mindsets, and habits that once protected you but now restrict you. Growth requires goodbye, and though farewells sting, they prepare your heart for encounters that align with your divine rhythm. In this season, let grace guide your release. Do not fight the flow of separation, follow it. There is peace waiting beyond what you're afraid to let go of. Sometimes God must empty your hands before He can fill them. The weight of destiny leaves no room for what's temporary. You will know you're walking correctly when certain things no longer fit. Your spirit will begin to reject what once attracted you. The music changes, the rhythm shifts, and your heart recognizes it's time to move. This is how heaven tunes your soul to a higher frequency. And when the ache of letting go becomes unbearable, remember, every seed must first fall apart before it becomes something greater. The soil must close over it, darkness must surround it, but inside that burial, transformation begins. That's what's happening to you. You are not being buried, you are being planted. If this word stirs something within you, let it move quietly through your heart. Allow it to soften you, to make you grateful even for the goodbyes, if you feel called to. Let your act of resonance be like light spreading from flame to flame. Share the warmth of what you've received. Let another soul find hope in the echo of your faith. And as you do, think of each like each subscription, not as a click or reaction, but as a candle lit in agreement, a gentle illumination that says, I trust the process. I surrender the old. I choose the new. Because in truth, this is what the great separation is, a holy invitation to step away from what once was and to walk hand in hand with what will be. Chosen one. You can feel it, the rhythm of time itself shifting under your feet. What once took years now unfolds in moments. Delays are dissolving, doors are opening, and divine order is overtaking human schedules. This is prophetic acceleration, the supernatural quickening that arrives when heaven decides, now. You are no longer in the waiting room. You are in the movement. The prayers you whispered long ago have ripened in eternity and are now descending into reality. Heaven's timing has collided with your obedience, and the result is motion swift, unstoppable, and drenched in purpose. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, the vision awaits its appointed time. Though it lingers, wait for it, it will surely come. It will not delay. Chosen one, that verse has reached its fulfillment in your life. What you thought was postponed was actually being prepared. God was aligning hearts, shaping environments, and setting the stage for something greater than your expectations. Now that the divine pieces fit, acceleration begins. But acceleration requires surrender. You cannot move at heaven's speed while holding on to earthly fear. You must release hesitation and trust the current. The flow of God is not chaotic, it's calculated. What looks sudden to you has been written into eternity all along. The pressure you feel now is not stress, it's spiritual velocity. Grace is stretching your capacity. You are being trained to move quickly without losing peace, to make decisions led by faith instead of fear. The same God who ignites acceleration will sustain you through it. Do not be afraid of divine momentum. The ground beneath you is not breaking, it's unfolding. The tremor you feel is the sound of destiny unlocking. What others built in decades, you will accomplish in days, not because you are faster, but because you are favored. Heaven has not forgotten your patience. Every hidden act of obedience, every quiet yes when no one saw, has created the foundation for this surge. The time of obscurity is ending. The light of recognition is dawning. You will not need to chase opportunity, opportunity will chase you. But remember, acceleration without wisdom leads to burnout. That's why God has refined your heart first. You've been prepared for this speed through seasons of stillness. You learned to trust Him in silence. Now you'll trust Him in motion. The path ahead will open one step at a time, like a scroll unrolling as you walk. The divine wind is behind you, propelling you forward. Each stride is guided by unseen hands, each encounter divinely arranged. You are no longer waiting for change. You are the change in motion. Chosen one, this is not the end of your waiting, it's the beginning of your running. The divine clock has struck the hour of fulfillment. Everything that was stuck will move. Everything that was late will arrive right on time. Now, if your spirit bears witness with this message, express it prophetically. Type 144 in the comments below. 12 multiplied by 12, the number of divine order and perfect completion. When you write it, you declare, "My steps are synchronized with heaven's design." You are not chasing destiny. Destiny is accelerating to meet you. The winds are shifting, the pace is changing, and your name has been called in the courts of heaven. Move forward with faith. What once crawled will now soar. The promise is not approaching. It's arriving. Chosen one. Every vessel chosen by heaven must pass through fire. Not the fire that destroys, but the fire that defines. You have walked through seasons where everything you depended on burned away. The familiar vanished, the comfortable dissolved, and though your heart trembled, something holy was happening. Heaven was refining you for what's next. The refining fire is not cruelty, it is craftsmanship. It is the touch of the master potter shaping you in flame instead of clay. Fire exposes what words cannot teach. It reveals the truth of who you are beneath every layer of pride, fear, and expectation. It burns away false strength so that divine strength can emerge. It was proclaimed in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 3. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the Levites and refine them like gold and silver. He does not stand afar from the furnace, he sits. The refiner remains near, eyes fixed on you, watching as each impurity rises to the surface. He will not allow the flame to consume you. He only keeps you there until he sees his reflection looking back. You wondered why the intensity increased when you prayed for purpose. The fire always intensifies before the breakthrough. The closer you move toward purity, the more heat it takes to complete the process. You asked for glory. He answered with refinement. Because glory without refinement is danger, it burns without illuminating. But the purified carry light safely, unshaken by darkness. Chosen one, the seasons that hurt you most were heaven's hidden classrooms. Every betrayal, every delay, every heartbreak became a lesson in trust. You learned that worship in the fire is stronger than praise and comfort. You learned that silence can still hold God's voice, that pain can still hold his presence. You see, the fire strips away illusion. It shows you what truly matters: faith that endures, hope that refuses to die, love that remains when all else burns away. It is only through such seasons that you discover who you are and who God has always been. The flame reveals authenticity. There is a beauty born only in the furnace. It is the glow of endurance, the shine of humility, the quiet strength of one who has walked through chaos and found peace in its center. You now understand that survival is not your victory. Transformation is. The goal was never to escape the fire, but to become something new within it. Do not despise these burning places in your journey. They are altars of becoming. The fire that once frightened you is now your familiar teacher. It has shown you that you can stand in heat and still not be consumed. What threatened to end you has refined you into someone the darkness can no longer intimidate. When you emerge from this season, the residue of fear will be gone. You will carry a quiet authority, a peace that doesn't waver, a faith that no longer depends on feelings. You will no longer fear the flame, because you have learned that even fire serves the one who is chosen. Chosen one, hold your head high in the furnace. This is not the end of you, it is the unveiling. Soon the heat will fade, the smoke will clear, and you will realize that what remains is stronger, purer, and more radiant than before. The fire was never your enemy. It was your appointment with transformation. Chosen one. There comes a moment when the winds rise so fiercely that even the ground beneath you seems to move. It feels as if every certainty is dissolving, plans crumble, people shift, and life roars louder than your prayers. But within that storm, a softer sound waits to be heard, the voice of God, steady and sure, whispering through the chaos. The storm does not come to silence you. It comes to teach you how to listen differently. When the noise of the world grows deafening, heaven invites you to tune your spirit to a deeper frequency. There, in the midst of wind and thunder, the divine voice does not shout, it stills. It speaks in calm, in clarity, in the quiet that trembles between heartbeats. The ancient record tells us in the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 12. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire came a gentle whisper. That whisper is where transformation begins. Elijah did not find God in the spectacle, he found him in the stillness. So it is with you. The greater the storm, the greater the invitation to discern his voice. While fear screams, his guidance whispers. And those who are still enough to listen find direction in what others call disaster. Chosen one, every storm you have faced has carried a message. It was never meant to destroy you, but to develop your hearing. You have learned to sense his presence when circumstances made no sense at all. The waves taught you balance. The thunder taught you focus. Even the darkness became your classroom, revealing that faith is not the absence of fear, but the decision to trust in its midst. You have discovered that divine communication often hides within contradiction. While everything outside of you seems to fall apart, something inside of you becomes unshakable. That is the mark of one who has heard heaven in the storm. You no longer need peace around you to have peace within you. There is something sacred about standing in the wind and refusing to bow to panic. When others flee, you anchor yourself. When others despair, you listen. The storm becomes your sanctuary because you know who stands beside you in the tempest. Do you remember how Jesus spoke to the sea? He did not argue with the waves, he spoke to them. And the same voice that calmed the waters of Galilee still speaks into the storms of your soul. You may not always hear words, but you will feel his presence wrapping around your heart like a mantle of calm. Chosen one, storms reveal intimacy. They strip away distraction and expose dependence. When all else fails, you finally realize that the only voice that matters is his. That awareness transforms fear into reverence. The storm becomes holy ground, the very place where you meet your Maker more honestly than ever before. You will not always be rescued from the storm, but you will always be preserved within it. The God who speaks in whispers will not let the winds consume you. His voice carries power, not volume. The storm bows to the whisper because the whisper comes from the one who commands creation. When the thunder fades and the skies clear, you will remember not the noise but the stillness that carried you through. You will understand that every roar was an invitation to listen deeper, and you will walk away not trembling, but transformed, calmer, wiser, more attuned to heaven's tone. Chosen one, do not fear the storm. It was never sent to break you, only to teach you where to hear him best. In every crash of thunder, listen for the whisper. That is where peace begins. Chosen one, have you noticed how intense the pressure has become? It's as though the air around you thickens with resistance, as if every step forward provokes invisible opposition. This is not coincidence. You are standing at the threshold of destiny, and the closer you draw to fulfillment, the louder the opposition grows. The darkness has recognized your name, and that is why it trembles. You are not battling random hardship. You are contending for inheritance. The enemy doesn't attack those who have nothing to birth. His strategy is simple: exhaust the chosen before they arrive. But what he cannot understand is that your endurance is born of divine fire. Every attack against you has only refined your focus. Every tear you shed has become oil for your anointing. Heaven reminds you through the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. That promise is not poetic, it's legal. It is heaven's decree over your life. The enemy may form weapons, but he cannot activate them without permission. You are protected not by circumstance, but by covenant. This battle, though fierce, is sacred. It teaches you to fight not with anger, but with awareness. You are learning that not every conflict deserves a response. Not every wound requires retaliation. Some wars are won through worship, some through stillness, and some through simply standing when everything tells you to fall. The real fight is for your focus. The enemy cannot steal what God gave you, so he tries to distract you from recognizing it. He throws confusion like dust into the air, hoping you'll lose sight of your identity. But even in the fog, your spirit remembers who you are. You are a soldier of light, clothed in human form, heaven's secret weapon on earth. Chosen one, do not interpret pressure as punishment. The weight you feel is not meant to crush you, it's meant to crown you. The greater your calling, the greater your confrontation. The anointing that rests upon you is heavy enough to shift atmospheres, and darkness fears what you carry. It's what you, when exhaustion whispers that you cannot continue. Remember, your endurance is already a form of warfare. Every moment you choose faith over fear, you strike a blow against the enemy's camp. Every time you keep loving when it would be easier to hate, you win another invisible victory. The battle over your destiny is not about survival, it's about revelation. You are discovering your authority, realizing that you were never fighting for victory. You've been fighting from victory. The outcome was written before the first blow was struck. So breathe, chosen one. The noise around you is not a sign of defeat, but a signal of breakthrough. The atmosphere is shifting. What once opposed you will soon serve you. Every resistance is being turned into refinement. Now, as an act of alignment with heaven's strength, type "Still I rise." These 3 words are not mere comment, they are declaration. When you write them, you're saying, no matter what comes, I will rise again because resurrection power lives in me. It is your way of standing tall in the face of spiritual warfare, a banner of defiance against despair. The enemy's greatest fear is not your weakness, it's your refusal to give up. So stand your ground, chosen one. The fire around you will not consume you, it will crown you. The battle is real, but so is your victory. You are the proof that heaven never loses. Chosen one, the fire is cooling now and the air feels different around you. You have come through the storm, through the separation, through the refining, and now heaven stands before you with something sacred in hand, a crown and a covenant. This is the moment where endurance meets inheritance. You have been tested, stretched, misunderstood, and refined, yet here you are still standing. You didn't realize that every trial was shaping your crown, every tear was adding jewels to it, and every act of faith was weaving the thread that holds it together. The crown is not made of gold alone, it is made of everything you survived. The Apostle John wrote in Revelation chapter 3, verse 11, "Hold fast what you have, that no one may take your crown." Your crown is not a decoration, it's identity. It's the visible mark of invisible loyalty. It's the sign that you chose obedience when rebellion seemed easier, that you held faith when surrender looked safer. Heaven saw every hidden act of integrity, every quiet yes when no one was watching. The crown is heaven's way of saying, I saw you. And along with the crown comes covenant, the eternal bond between your heart and His. It's not a contract written in ink, but a promise sealed in fire. A covenant means you are no longer walking as a wanderer, but as a representative of divine authority. Every step you take from here carries purpose. Every word you speak carries weight. Imagine for a moment that your life is a garden. The soil is everything you have endured, the pain, the waiting, the pruning. The covenant is the rain that now falls upon that soil, awakening seeds that were buried long ago. What once looked like loss begins to bloom. You start to see beauty rising from places you thought were dead. That is the promise of covenant. It turns ruins into resurrection. Chosen one, you are entering a season where heaven will trust you with influence, not to make you visible, but to make His glory visible through you. The light that once flickered now burns steadily, because you learn to let the wind make you stronger instead of extinguishing you. Hold your crown gently, for it was forged in pain and polished in patience. And remember, this is not a crown you keep for yourself, it's one you carry for others. Your testimony becomes a torch, your endurance a guide for those still wandering through their storms. The crown is not the end, it's the beginning of greater responsibility, deeper humility, and brighter grace. If this message reaches something tender in you, let it breathe there for a moment. Don't rush. Feel what heaven feels for you. Pride, love, and joy. And if you choose to share this message, let it not be out of routine, but as an act of light-giving. Share it like a lantern in the night, carrying warmth into someone else's cold. When you like these words, think of it as touching the crown in agreement, saying, yes, I receive this honor, and I will carry it with grace. And if your heart whispers to stay connected, to keep walking this journey of revelation and renewal, let your subscription be more than a click. Let it be a covenant, a silent promise that says, I'm still here, growing, believing, transforming. Because in the end, every act of connection, every like, every share, every moment of stillness is not for numbers. It's for remembrance. It's for you to remember that you are seen, you are crowned, and you are part of something far greater than yourself. Chosen one, wear your crown humbly and walk boldly beneath the covenant that made you whole. Heaven smiles upon you now, not because you are perfect, but because you never stopped becoming. Chosen one, you have reached the turning point. Everything that was once against you is beginning to pivot. The winds that once resisted you are shifting to carry you forward. This is the sacred mystery of divine reversal, when God steps into the equation and turns the story upside down. You have walked through years that felt like subtraction. People left, doors closed, opportunities slipped away like water through your fingers. You learned how to keep walking even when the path crumbled behind you. But heaven has been watching, and now the same hand that allowed the breaking is releasing the blessing. What was meant to reduce you will now reveal you. The story of Joseph echoes in this season of your life. He was thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, and forgotten in a prison. But one divine moment reversed years of injustice. The same voices that once mocked him were the ones sent to call his name before the throne. The same circumstances that broke him became the bridge that lifted him. Such is the pattern of grace. It builds palaces from ruins, favor from rejection. The ancient text in Genesis chapter 50, verse 20 declares, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring about that many people should be kept alive." These words still live today. What was meant for harm in your story is becoming holy ground. Every betrayal, every delay, every loss was secretly serving the larger plan. The enemies you thought buried you were actually planting you. What looked like the end was only the beginning in disguise. Divine reversal doesn't erase the pain, it redeems it. It takes the ashes of what was and crafts something eternal. The relationships that fell apart become lessons in discernment. The failures that once shamed you become testimonies of resilience. Nothing was wasted, everything was repurposed. You will soon begin to notice the subtle signs. A name once associated with rejection will return with respect. A place that held disappointment will call you back in honor. You will step into rooms where you were once denied access, and the same hands that pushed you away will now open the door. Not because of pride, but because heaven has rewritten your reputation. Chosen one, the turn is already happening. You can feel the tension in the atmosphere, the pause before everything shifts. Destiny is rearranging itself around you. The ones who doubted your endurance will witness your emergence. Not as vengeance, but as vindication. God does not reverse things to prove your worth. He does it to reveal His faithfulness. When divine reversal arrives, it rarely announces itself. It happens quietly, like dawn breaking after a long night. One day you wake up and realize the heaviness is gone. The burden you carried for years suddenly feels light. The doors you stopped knocking on swing open by themselves. That's the beauty of grace. It moves without needing permission. Chosen one, soon you will look at the places that wounded you and whisper gratitude instead of grief. You will realize the pain had purpose. The dark valleys carved strength into your soul that comfort could never teach. The loss stripped away everything false, leaving only the pure, unshakable parts of you. This reversal is not a reward, it's restoration. God is returning everything you lost, but transformed. It will not look the same, but it will feel whole. You will understand that redemption is not about getting back what was taken, it's about becoming the kind of person who no longer needs it to feel complete. The tide has turned. Chosen one. The pit is now a platform. The tears are now oil, and the broken road has become the bridge to destiny. What once crushed you will now crown you. Chosen one. There are moments when heaven itself exhales and everything on earth begins to respond. That is the moment you are living in now. The invisible world is moving, aligning, arranging, and awakening on your behalf. This is not imagination, it is spiritual reality. What once felt silent is now alive with divine motion. For weeks, perhaps months, you have sensed something stirring within you: restlessness, anticipation, even a holy unease. That is your spirit recognizing the movement in heaven. Angels are being dispatched. Old assignments are ending, new ones are beginning. The atmosphere is rearranging itself to favor what God has declared over your life. The apostle wrote in the book of Hebrews, chapter 1, verse 14, "Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation?" Those words are not metaphor, they are mechanics of the unseen. Heaven's armies are not distant watchers. They are active participants. They stand beside you in moments of weariness, strengthening your faith when human encouragement falls short. When you cry out alone in the night, heaven does not merely listen, it mobilizes. The shift in the spirit realm is both gentle and fierce. Gentle, because it moves in peace. Fierce, because nothing can resist it. You may not see angels' wings, but you feel their presence in sudden calm after confusion, in unexpected strength after sorrow. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Chosen one, the warfare that once felt endless is breaking. What resisted you in the spirit is now releasing you. The delay is lifting, the oppression dissolving. Where there was fog, clarity comes. Where doors refuse to open, keys are appearing in your hands. You are walking into the results of prayers you thought were forgotten. This shift is not just for your comfort, it's for your calling. Heaven is positioning you to stand where your light can reach more hearts. The places where you once whispered faith will soon echo with authority. You will not need to strive. Alignment will carry you. It's as though heaven itself has reached down and adjusted your path 1 degree. But that single degree changes everything. Be sensitive now. When the spirit realm moves, the physical often shakes. People may exit your life suddenly, plans may redirect, emotions may surge. Do not panic, this is divine rearrangement. God is not dismantling your life. He is decluttering it. The unnecessary is being removed so that the eternal can remain. Chosen one, your prayers have weight. Every whispered plea, every tear that fell in silence has been counted, and now the response is unfolding. You will begin to notice divine coincidences, timely calls, unexpected resources, perfect alignments. That is the evidence that heaven has shifted in your favor. Now, as a prophetic act of agreement with what is unfolding in the unseen, type 555 in the comments below. 5 is the number of grace, and tripled it becomes fullness, grace upon grace upon grace. When you write it, you're not just marking a moment, you're aligning with motion. It's your way of saying, I receive the shift. I welcome the unseen into the seen. Let this number be your silent amen, your gentle yes to what heaven is already doing. For the winds of the Spirit have changed direction, and you, beloved chosen one, are standing right where heaven breathes new life into the earth. When you type 555, you're not entering digits, you are declaring faith in motion. It is your soul's way of saying, I trust the unseen hand guiding me. Each number becomes a step of surrender into divine alignment and grace. Chosen one. Every season you've endured has been shaping you into something sacred, a vessel capable of carrying light into dark places. The crushing, the stretching, the waiting, the silence, they were never random moments. They were divine craftsmanship. God was hollowing out the places in you that pride once filled, creating space for glory to dwell. To become a vessel is not to be polished, it is to be prepared. The vessel is formed not on display, but in pressure. The potter's hands are steady, deliberate, and sometimes they press harder than you expected. Yet every push, every rotation, every reshaping was love in motion. You have been formed by the same hands that shaped the stars. The apostle reminds us in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 7. We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that the surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. That treasure is within you. Heaven placed something eternal inside an earthen frame so that no one could mistake its origin. The glory you carry is not yours to own, it is yours to release. You are a walking revelation, a living vessel of divine presence designed to pour out what you've been poured into. You once wondered why you were broken in so many places. But brokenness was never your enemy. It was the entry point for grace. Cracks in a vessel are not flaws when light is its purpose. The more the vessel is broken, the more the light escapes. What looked like weakness was simply heaven's way of making you transparent. Chosen one. This is why the enemy fought so hard to convince you that your pain disqualified you. He feared what you would become once you realized that the cracks were your testimony. You are proof that God can dwell in dust and call it divine. You carry the fragrance of survival and the strength of surrender. To be a vessel is to live poured out. It means choosing compassion over convenience, truth over comfort, purpose over pride. It means saying, "Use me," even when it costs you comfort. And in doing so, you become the channel through which heaven touches earth. There is no glory in being filled if you refuse to pour. The oil within you was never meant to stagnate. It was meant to flow. Every word of encouragement you speak, every act of love you give, every prayer you whisper for another. These are the ways you release what you carry. You become a living river, not a reservoir. Chosen one, there is nothing ordinary about you. The hands that molded creation molded you. Every flaw has purpose, every scar a story. The potter sees beauty in what the world discards. Others may see clay, but heaven sees a conduit of power. And remember, the vessel never fills itself. It remains dependent on the source. That is the mystery of divine partnership. Your willingness creates space for His fullness. The moment you surrender your limitations, His limitless nature flows through you. You are never meant to be perfect, only available. That is all heaven ever needed. And when you live that way, open, surrendered, radiant, the world begins to taste the living water flowing from your life. Chosen one, this is who you've become, not the wound but the well, not the broken jar but the carrier of eternal light. Stand firm in that identity, for heaven has chosen to dwell within you. Chosen one. Everything that has been spoken over your life is now gathering into form. The words once whispered in prophecy, the visions that flickered in your dreams, the confirmations that seemed scattered across time, they are converging. You have stepped into the hour when the invisible begins to take shape. This is the manifestation. You can feel it in the air around you, the shift from waiting to walking, from promise to presence. What was once hope is becoming experience. The seeds of faith that you buried long ago are breaking through the surface. They sprout quietly, but their roots run deep, nourished by every tear you sowed. It was written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 11. So shall my word be that goes out from my mouth, it shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish what I purpose and succeed in the thing for which I sent it. These words are the architecture of fulfillment. Nothing heaven speaks is wasted. Every syllable carries intention. Every promise contains momentum. You are witnessing what happens when eternal truth touches earthly time. It does not arrive early, nor late. It arrives precisely when it is ready to reveal glory. Chosen one. Manifestation is not magic, it is maturation. It is the moment when faith becomes visible. Everything you endured has matured the soil of your soul, so that now, when divine rain falls, fruit will appear quickly. The waiting did not delay you, it deepened you. Without roots, no tree survives the storm. You had to be prepared for abundance. The manifestation you are walking into will look like grace disguised as opportunity, peace after confusion, strength replacing weariness. Things that once resisted you will now make way for you. People who overlooked you will now recognize the light you carry. The same circumstances that drained you will begin to serve you. Such is the way of fulfillment, it reverses gravity. Still, manifestation requires humility. When what you prayed for finally arrives, remember the one who gave it. Let gratitude guard your heart against pride. Remember the quiet days when you carried faith like a fragile flame in the wind. Let those memories keep you tender, even as your influence grows. Chosen one, understand that manifestation is not the conclusion, it is continuation. Fulfillment does not end your story, it expands it. What is appearing now is only the first layer of what heaven intends. The promise you see is a seed itself, destined to produce even greater harvests. Do not settle in comfort, stay awake in purpose. Sometimes manifestation appears differently than expected. God fulfills promises in ways that protect your destiny, not your preferences. The door you hoped for may close so that the gate you were born for can open. The shape of blessing may surprise you, but its source will always bear his signature peace that surpasses understanding. When the fulfillment becomes visible, others will call it sudden. But you will know it was not sudden, it was sacred. It was years in the making, hidden beneath patience and prayer. The world will see the fruit, heaven knows the roots. Chosen one. This is the beauty of manifestation. It proves that waiting was never wasted. What God promises, he performs. What he begins, he finishes. And now, as the light of completion rises around you, you can finally breathe the truth your spirit always knew it was worth it. You are walking in answered prayers. You are living inside what once felt impossible. This is the hour of evidence, the moment heaven shows the world that faith never fails. Chosen one. The shift that began within you was never meant to stay contained. What heaven has ignited in your spirit is spreading quietly, powerfully, beautifully across hearts, homes, and nations. This is not merely personal transformation. It is the global awakening. You were never chosen just to rise, you were chosen to awaken others. The signs are everywhere if you listen beyond the noise. People once driven by fear are hungering for truth again. Those lost in distraction are pausing, questioning, remembering their first love. Across continents and cultures, a gentle trembling begins, the sound of souls waking up to light. The earth itself seems to lean closer, as if creation is holding its breath for redemption's next note. The prophet Habakkuk wrote long ago in chapter 2, verse 14, "For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea." Chosen one, you are part of that prophecy. The same glory that stirred ancient deserts now moves through modern hearts. The light that once flickered privately within you has become a spark that touches others without words. Every act of kindness, every prayer whispered for a stranger, every moment you choose love over bitterness, it all contributes to the rising tide of awakening. There was a time you thought your faith was small, but faith has no small version. A single flame can awaken the night, and that flame burns within you. The awakening does not begin in churches or stadiums. It begins in kitchens, in quiet conversations, in the hearts of those who finally decide to forgive. You are a vessel of that fire, carrying hope where despair once ruled. This is why your journey mattered so much. The separation, the fire, the silence, the shaking, they made you a carrier of clarity. Now your life itself preaches. You are a living message that says, light still wins. The awakening flows through your authenticity, not your perfection. You have become the sound of mercy in motion. Across the earth, others like you are rising unnoticed at first, then unstoppable. They speak different languages, wear different faces, but their hearts beat with the same rhythm. Together, they form a symphony of revival that no government, algorithm, or darkness can silence. Heaven's melody is returning to the world, note by note, soul by soul. If this message stirs something deep within you, let it rest there. Let it remind you that awakening is not noise, it is breath. When you feel led, you can share these words like a ripple across still water, not as a performance, but as participation in what heaven is doing. When you quietly like this message, imagine it as adding another light to the constellation, a signal to others searching in the dark that they are not alone. And if your heart whispers to stay connected to this unfolding journey, let your subscription be a sacred nod, a silent prayer that says, I want to keep walking where the light is leading. Finally, if this truth finds you trembling in awe, you may comment. Not out of routine, but as testimony, your soul saying, I see it too. Your words may become the echo that wakes another heart somewhere far away. Because this chosen one is how awakenings spread, not through force, but through resonance, not through command, but through compassion. Light recognizes light, flame calls to flame, and soon, what began as a whisper within you will become a roar across the nations. The awakening has begun, and you are one of its first sparks. Let your life continue the story. Heaven is writing a story where hope rises like morning over every horizon. Chosen one, you are now living in what once felt like a distant promise. The storm has quieted, the shaking has settled, and what remains is peace deep, steady, unshakable peace. You are walking in a new reality, not born from wishful thinking, but from divine alignment. Everything around you may look similar, but everything within you has changed. You see differently, move differently, choose differently. The old patterns no longer fit, the old fears no longer rule. The new reality is not loud, it is luminous. It hums beneath the surface of ordinary life, transforming every task into an act of worship. You find grace in small moments, in laughter that feels lighter, in silence that feels sacred, in tears that no longer taste like sorrow but like surrender. You realize that the miracle was not only that the mountain moved, but that your heart did. It is written in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 17. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. That new is not an upgrade. It's an unveiling. God didn't add more to your life. He revealed what was always hidden beneath the weight of fear and doubt. You have stepped out of survival and into sonship, out of striving and into stillness. The war within you has ceased because peace himself reigns there. Now you begin to notice how the divine weaves through everything. The sunrise feels like a reminder instead of a routine. Conversations carry depth. Time moves slower because you no longer chase what was never meant for you. The old hunger to prove yourself fades, replaced by the quiet joy of simply being known by God. Chosen one, walking in this new reality means carrying heaven's rhythm into earthly routines. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer rush, you rest. The same circumstances that once drained you now invite you to demonstrate grace. Where others see chaos, you see opportunity for peace to speak. This is not detachment, it is divine awareness. You are living as one who knows that the unseen is more real than the visible. This new way of walking requires gentle discipline. Peace is not passive, it is practiced. You must guard what God has given you. Protect your atmosphere from voices that drag you back into old cycles. The past will try to whisper that you are unchanged, but its voice is fading. Your transformation is permanent because it was sealed in surrender, not self-effort. You may feel moments of nostalgia for what was, but that's only memory adjusting to eternity. You cannot return to who you were, because that version of you no longer exists. Grace has rewritten your nature. The new reality is not a destination. It's a dimension of awareness, one that keeps unfolding as you keep trusting. Chosen one, you have learned that peace isn't found in perfect conditions, it's found in consistent communion. You have discovered that joy is not a reaction but a residence. And you have realized that purpose doesn't chase applause, it flows naturally from alignment. Now, as you walk in this new reality, everything ordinary becomes extraordinary again. A simple breath becomes worship. A quiet moment becomes prophecy. You are learning that heaven is not a faraway place, it is the atmosphere you now carry. Wherever you go, the realm of peace goes with you. Chosen one, step gently but confidently. You are no longer waiting for the new, you are walking in it. The transformation is complete, and the evidence is your peace. You are the living proof that what God promises, He performs. Chosen one. The air feels different now. It carries a stillness that only comes after great transformation. You stand at the threshold between what was and what will forever be. Heaven has completed its work in you, not the work of perfection, but the work of alignment. You are no longer who you were when this journey began. You have become the proof of prophecy fulfilled, the living echo of divine intention made visible. This is the final shift, the moment where everything within you finally agrees with what heaven has always spoken. The war between doubt and destiny is over. The weight of striving has lifted. You no longer chase signs, you become them. You no longer search for confirmation, you embody it. Your very existence declares God keeps His promises. The ancient words from the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 18 capture the heart of this moment. The sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed in us. Now you understand what those words truly mean. The pain, the pressure, the pruning, it was all preparation. Every dark night was a womb, not a grave. You were not losing life, you were giving birth to it. The glory that was hidden within your trials now shines quietly through everything you are. You have become light that no darkness can comprehend. This shift is not loud. It hums in the silence between heartbeats. It is the moment the caterpillar becomes the butterfly without fanfare. When the dawn breaks not with noise but with inevitability. You are no longer walking toward transformation. You are transformation. The universe around you bends to the new rhythm of your faith. Chosen one. Heaven's fingerprints are everywhere now, in the conversations that bring clarity, in the faces that bring peace, in the opportunities that seem perfectly timed. This is not coincidence, it is confirmation. You are walking through what was once only vision, and yet it feels natural, as if your soul always knew this terrain. That is how destiny feels it fits. You no longer fight to be seen, for visibility is no longer your goal. You seek only to reflect. The light within you doesn't demand attention, it invites remembrance. Those who encounter you will sense something beyond words, the calm authority of one who has walked through fire and come out shining. You will not need to prove the presence of God, your peace will preach it. This final shift is not about rising higher, but about resting deeper. You have reached the place where faith no longer strains, it breathes. You trust without trying, love without guarding, give without counting. The transformation has come full circle. What was once wounded has become wisdom. What was once fragile has become fearless. Chosen one. Understand this truth: the journey never truly ends. It evolves. You will continue to expand, to shine, to influence, not by effort but by essence. The same light that remade you will now move through you, touching lives that haven't yet remembered their own calling. You are not the conclusion of this story, you are its continuation. The final shift is not an ending, but an unveiling. The crown rests easily now because it was always meant for you. You stand in peace, clothed in purpose, radiant with the quiet joy of one who knows they have fulfilled their part of heaven's design. The time of wandering is over. The time of witnessing has begun. Stand still for a moment, breathe, and feel the reality of it. You made it. Chosen one. If these words have found you, it is not by chance, it is by design. Every sentence you have heard, every whisper that stirred within you, was part of heaven's choreography. You were meant to receive this reminder: you are not forgotten, not overlooked, not behind. You are perfectly aligned with divine timing. and your transformation is living proof that grace still works wonders in quiet hearts. The journey has not ended, it has deepened. You are standing now as a mirror of what faith can become when it refuses to quit. The light in you is not fragile anymore. It burns steady, calm, and kind. Let it shine. Let it speak. Let it awaken someone else who still thinks the night will never break. If this message has reached something sacred within you, let your response be gentle but intentional. Share it like a candle being passed from hand to hand, an act of silent kindness that turns one flame into many. Like these words not as routine but as resonance, a quiet acknowledgement that they have found their home in your spirit. And if you feel called to continue walking in this stream of truth, let your subscription be your yes to heaven's rhythm, a vow to keep your heart open to the flow of revelation and renewal. Each connection becomes another thread in the tapestry of awakening being woven across the earth. Finally, if you wish, comment something simple, something real, a word, a symbol, even a sigh of agreement. For somewhere, someone will read it and realize they are not alone in their journey. This is how heaven moves through willing hearts, through small gestures, through the chosen who carry light wherever they go.